Recently, the brutal murder of the famous Indian singer Sidhu Moosewala has not only shocked the Indian music industry but also various singers and his fan following around the world. The loss caused by his death cannot be compensated in any manner. In this murder, various conspiracy theories have come up, and we as the students of law need to have a scrupulous scrutiny of the various conspiracies and the people involved, the accused and the offences for which they can be charged with. For the better understanding of the offences with which all the accused could be charged, here is a small list of the offences. Section 302, which provides the punishment for the offence of murder. Section 109, which provides the punishment for the offence of abetment to commit an offence. Section 302 read with Section 34, which provides the concept of vicarious liability or the joint and constructive liability. Section 120B of the Indian Penal Code, which provides the punishment for the offence of criminal conspiracy. Section 307 of the Indian Penal Code, which punishes for the offence of attempt to murder. Section 326 of the Indian Penal Code, which punishes for the offence of causing grievous hurt with the use of dangerous or deadly weapons. Section 506 of the Indian Penal Code, which punishes for the offence of criminal intimidation. Section 384 of the Indian Penal Code, which punishes for the offence of extortion. Since the investigation is still under process, so the opinions and the various discussions being done is this video is based upon the facts and circumstances which have come out through various media channels and other sources. Since nothing is conclusive till date, as it can only be done once the magistrate takes the cognizance upon the final report filed by the police officials. So in that context, whatever discussions are being done are being focused on the various angles which have come up. Mainly, there are three to four accused who are being covered in this video. Firstly, the people who were actually involved in the killings. There were media reports that the car of the famous singer was stopped by two other cars, and people came out from the other cars and started firing on the car of the Sidhu Moosewala, and accordingly, which led to his death. So approximately 8 to 10 people are being reported that they were involved in the killing of who shot at the crime scene, and there were nearly 30 to 40 rounds of bullets which were fired at the singer. Apart from these people, there are also some other gangsters who, after the incident took place, took the responsibility of the entire crime through their Facebook posts and other social media accounts, where they declared that it was them who had planned everything, who arranged for the killing and every other aspect. So apart from the involvement of these above two people, no other person till date has been found to have a link with this murder. If something happens in future, that will be always covered in the next upcoming videos. But considering the present scenario, we will lay our entire opinion based upon the facts which are clear till date. The first act, which goes with the assailants who were at the time of the crime scene. They were well dressed with deadly weapons, and it has also been reported that they also had AK-47 with which the killing was done. Section 300 of the Indian Penal Code defines the offence of murder. The first part, which lays down that whenever death is caused by any act which is done with the intention to cause death. It was clear that around 30 to 40 rounds were fired at the singer, which ultimately caused his death. This act of the people, and they being also involved and being so many in number, was clear that they came just to commit the death of the person. Not only the singer, but along with him, there were 2 or 3 more people who were sitting with him in his car. They were also brutally hurt. Although none of them died, it was only the singer, the famous singer, who died. Apart from them, no other person was killed, but they were very grievously injured. The brutal conduct of the shooters was a clear manifestation of their intention that they came to kill. And that was justified by the act, by 30 to 40 rounds of the bullet which they fired. So thus they can be easily charged for the offence of murder of the singer under section 302 of the Indian Penal Code. Further, there can also be chances that since they also, although their main target was the singer, but along with them, the other people sitting in the car were also shot. I think as per the reports of the media that one or two other people also had a fire shot on their body, but with God's grace, they were saved and they did not die. But this act of the shooters is a clear manifestation of their intention, and it can also attract a liability under section 307 of the Indian Penal Code for the offense of committing attempt to murder. The liability of the shooters for the offense of murder and attempt to murder is clear from the above discussion. Now moving forward, they can also be charged for the offense of criminal conspiracy punishable under section 120B of the Indian Penal Code. For those people who do not know what is criminal conspiracy, I'll give you a brief idea about the offense. It is whenever any act is done, whenever any illegal act is done in furtherance of a common intention. Although the words common intention have not been expressly used, but such acts of criminal conspiracy are always done in furtherance of a common intention. And since all the people, all the shooters, since they were plural in number, there were so many, nearly about 8 to 10 in number, and they all acted with a preponderance of meeting of their mind. They were all being boosted through their common intention, though their act was clear that their common intention was there in order to commit the offense. So they can also be charged for the offense of criminal conspiracy punishable under section 120B of the Indian Penal Code. This is the discussion in concern to the shooters, and their liability in this context, to the best of my knowledge, is very clear. Now, apart from the shooters, there were also other people, the gangsters, I think the notorious gangsters, famously known as the Bishnoi gang, and the other concerned people. They, through their Facebook post, have come up with the various responsibilities which they have taken. Some of the media reports also reported that because the singer was fan of AK-47, so the gangsters made sure that he was killed with the same particular gun. Based upon these things, based upon these theories which have come up, based upon the facts and circumstances, if the police succeeds in linking up the notorious gangsters along with the shooters, if they're able to prove that it was only the gangsters who gave who ordered the contract killing of the singer, then they can be charged for the offense of abetment to commit an offense under section 109 of the Indian Penal Code. Now, the offense of abetment as defined in section 107 of the Indian Penal Code can be done through three ways mainly. The first one is through provocation or instigation. The secondly being that the person, the abettor himself, entered into a criminal conspiracy and did something in furtherance of the main object. And third is giving an intentional aid in the commission of the offense, and provided the offense should have been committed. So now if the police succeeds in linking up that it was only the gangsters who ordered the contract killing, who hired the shooters, who provided them with the you can say the guns, the weapons, and the other information, who were always keeping a spy, and they were giving the complete information to the shooters. The gangsters made the entire planning regarding the crime scene, at what time, at what day, and what has to be done, how has to be done. If all these proofs come up, in that situation, nobody can protect the gangsters from being punished under section 109 of the Indian Penal Code, read with section 302 of the Indian Penal Code. Indirectly, they will also be punished for the offense of murder, but that will be not actually murder, but abetment to commit murder. So in that context, they can be charged for the offense of abetment under section 109 of the Indian Penal Code. Apart from that, if in case there is no direct proof, the linking cannot be done, there is no link to show that they planned anything, they gave up any contract, they supplied any kind of murder weapon. If no such proof can be brought up, then they can be charged along with section 34. The gangsters can be put behind the bar using section 302 read with 34 of the Indian Penal Code. Now, what is section 34? It is based upon the concept of vicarious liability. Vicarious liability is that you, although were not actually involved in the crime scene, in the actual commission of the offense, but your conduct, but your involvement, even if minute, was to some extent responsible for the main commission of the offense. The main thing which has to be proved for the proof of section 34, which is based upon the rule of evidence, is the common intention, that you shared the common intention with the shooters. If the police succeeds through the media post, through the Facebook post or the other social media post, that since they took the responsibility, so it was very much clear that they had that common intention with the shooters and everything was done in furtherance of that common intention, then the liability for the vicarious liability of the gangsters can actually be proved, and they can also be charged for the offense of murder under section 302 read with section 34 of the Indian Penal Code. If in any situation they take any defense that it was not us or it was not we who ordered anything, the media, the social media posts are still available, where they themselves took the responsibility and also gave the long list or the long chain as what provoked them to do this, since it was also being reported by the media reports that it was due to some gang war that this innocent singer became a victim of, or any so many never ending theories. So they can also be taken into consideration. Now, this was the liability of all the above people. And apart from this, there were also other reports that the singer was being threatened. He was being always tried to manipulate in such a manner that you need to pay us protection money or anything like that. For the offense of criminal intimidation, which says that as it is defined in section 503 of the Indian Penal Code, that whenever any person threatens another person to commit any injury, what does injury means? That any harm to your property, mind, reputation or body. So when one person is threatening another person to cause him such injury and such fear element is created which causes an alarm that something bad or something wrong is being going to done to the victim, and the person, the accused person who is making such fear, he asks in return that in order to solve everything, you need to do something which you are not legally bound to do, or you need not to do something which you are legally bound to do. In that situation, it can be said that he has committed the offense of criminal intimidation. So how this offense is relevant in this present facts? Like, there were reports that the singer was being threatened over a long period of time that if you do not give us money, we can do this, we can do that, we can cause you damage, we can cause you or your family any kind of injury. So that was a threat being given. So that thing is a clear manifestation of the intention that the accused, the gangsters or the shooters, they have clearly committed an offense under section 506 of the Indian Penal Code. Apart from this, there were also the reports also came us that extortion calls were being made to the singer, that in return for your protection, you need to pay this much amount to us. Extortion, Indian Penal Code section 384, it completely defines it. But since there was no report that the singer paid the money, that is the actus reus for the offense of extortion, that is the delivery of the property is mandatory, the valuable security is mandatory, since it was not done. So in that context, although the offense was not over, but they can still be charged for the offense of attempt to extortion, punishable under section 384 read with section 511 of the Indian Penal Code. So these were the various angles of the criminal liability which we tried to cover, with which the accused can be charged with, but it all depends upon the final report which has to be filed by the investigating officers once their investigation is complete. Based upon what charge sheet has been filed and what new things come up with, we will again come with a new update regarding this case. And as you always know, just stay tuned to this channel for more upcoming legal updates. It is not only that something should happen that we will give you information. There is a long list of other videos available on this channel which can clearly clear your minds, your concepts regarding the offenses how do they commit, what are the various ingredients which need to be fulfilled before a person can be said who has actually committed an offense. With this, we end this video. Thanks a lot.